right? And that I go and say, I don't got time for the hate. I need more time in my day. I put the ice on my bay, yeah. You riding on me. I get my drip overseas. Niggas are hating on me, yeah.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my Akis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision. I'm your host, Akhi. To my left is no other than
Professor Nims, the pundit with the PhD in pugilism.
Talk to him nice. Don't talk to him twice, because that's a real-life professor for the ones that don't know.
Come get educated.
So for all the casual fans out there, welcome to the Aki University, where we offer the book of the truth. So since people love to judge a book by its cover, we're going to paint a perfect picture for y'all. So if y'all do take the time out of y'all day to read the book, hopefully y'all will graduate from the Aki University. We got real-life professors.
Classes in session right now.
Yeah, with PhD degrees teaching at the Aki University. So it's free to attend. All you got to do is subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't. And listen to these casual fans. So for all the casual fans out there, welcome to the Aki University. Hopefully y'all will graduate soon enough. We believe in everybody, so everybody is welcome here. To all my Akis, salute. Hashtag Aki, the boxing brotherhood.
Yes,
and
sir.
To the new media members, to the new media partners, and to everyone that's part of the new media movement, shout out to y'all. It's a pleasure to have y'all here. We're going to represent, we're going to show in, and we're going to show out. So today we have a lot to talk about, from Deontay Wilder to Manny Pacquiao to Errol Spence to the Charlo brothers.
Devin Haney,
Lomachenko, Tank Davis, the drama they've been having going on, and many more. So subscribe below and click on the notification bell to get notified every time we post to go live. So let's get straight to it. So Professor Nim,
what's good?
The PBC making power moves. Al Heyman, he planning on taking over the sport. He looking at the big picture. So he's planning on coming out with a PBC belt. Kind of like the UFC franchise. They got their own UFC dominance over the MMA. Al Heyman is trying to establish that in the boxing game. And since there's too many belts in the sport of boxing, from the WBC to the WBC franchise, from the WA to the Super WBA, from the Diamond belt to the interim belt, it's like 7 to 8 belts in every division. Fans get confused. So if Al Heyman is able to pull this off with a PBC champion, and they're trying to award it to Wilder versus Ruiz, if both of them comes out winners on their upcoming fight, which you never know, boxing, anything can happen.
Exactly.
Welcome to the sport where anything can happen. It's like a movie theater. You know what I'm saying? Expect the unexpected. Yeah,
exactly.
So that being said, they trying to aware that to the winner of that fight, where that will be the first PBC champion, premier boxing champion, the unified heavyweight champion in the world, one face, one name in the sport. So if they could pull that off, are they going to get away? They're going to get rid of all the other belts, from the WBC to the IBF and the WBO. And we already know, Al Heyman already stated that he was trying to kind of get rid of the WBO because Bob Arum has so much ties with the WBO. And it's always his fighters that fight for that title. And obviously, as promoters that have been in the game for a long time, they got some, partnership with these organizations. So to get rid of that and let the network run the belt, the network becoming the belt, kind of like the UFC. Do you see Al Heyman, being able to pull that off? And if he does, will that make the sport better?
So I thought about that. So my initial reaction was that we don't need another belt. But for one thing, I want to state that I think that Al Heyman is an unequivocal genius, just flat out. His boxers get paid more. They're treated better. I've never heard a boxer say any bad thing about Al Heyman. That's the first thing. And now, so this is how I would, under certain conditions, I would not mind this. So if the PBC represents an undisputed champion, or the recognition of an undisputed, so that means that you have the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO, that if you have all of those and it's a recognition of an undisputed, I don't want somebody just giving that out right now, but if you have all of the belts and there's a recognition under those conditions, I would be open to something like that.
Yeah, and me too, because it's gonna help clear the sport up. Because I mean,
Yeah.
when I tell people that, casual fans, oh, who's the champion at the welterweight division, I have to name them like 5
Yeah.
guys, like Terrence, Errol, Manny, and it's like, fans get confused.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day where it's only one belt. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now if you if you're an undisputed champion, you got 4 belts. You know what I'm saying? So I believe it's gonna help clear the sport. I know a lot of fans said, "Oh, how come y'all complain about the franchise title but not the PBC title?" But what I say to that is this: the franchise title, you could win it, but you can't lose it. That's first
That's
of all.
bullshit.
Second of all, is a belt that's they added it to another WBC title. What do you have to do to achieve that belt? I mean, obviously, Lomachenko and Canelo Alvarez requested it, but they never defended the WBC title. So the only way to get this belt is to have a fighter from the coincidental list as your mandatory. That's what it's looking like. And for you to get this belt, you have to be a fighter from the hope list. Is that what it is? But the PBC belt, I believe, is awarded to the fighter that's undisputed. Because they said they're going to award it to Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder. And keep in mind, the WBO and the IBF, they try to mandate Usyk and Pulev.
Yeah.
And they trying to stop the Ruiz versus Deontay Wilder unification from happening.
Yeah.
So if they do strip them, we could care less because we know who the real champions
Exactly,
are.
yeah.
So if they do fight each other and then the winner becomes the PBC champion, then that's recognized as the undisputed champion. And I believe probably the champion or the winner of that will vacate all the other belts because he could care less about them. Because now he represents the PBC belt and he the first in history. And that could be a great start to, cleaning the sport in a way and having one face, one name in every sport. Now, that's going to affect the welterweight division, though, because obviously PBC got most of the fighters, 70% of the talent in the boxing game. However, we can't ignore the fact that Terrence Crawford is still with Top Rank. Lomachenko still with Top Rank. So are they willing to work with them guys? And if they do work with them, is that fighter going to win the PBC belt? And obviously, you're going to have to fight under the network if you that champion. So is they going to have to sign a 3-year contract if they're going to win that belt? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of confusion.
I don't see it happening. One is just for the disdain that Bob Arum has for Al Heyman. And I just think that part of it, I mean, I'm kind of say something controversial. I just think that this is an educated black man that's outdone Bob Arum and that really kind of draws his ire, and I think he has an issue with that.
Well, he don't have no choice though, because obviously Heyman is working with Bob Arum to make the Fury fight and the Terrence Crawford fight. He already promised them both fights.
He did. I want to see it come to fruition. I mean, you can say a lot. I mean, but if it does, I will say that it will mark a change in the way that Bob Arum has dealt with Al Heyman.
Al Heyman will have the leverage. That's one thing for sure, because most of the talent pool will be with Al Heyman in the heavyweight division, in the welterweight division, and that's the two stacked division in the sport of boxing today. In the heavyweight division, it's obviously back. The welterweight division is always stacked. So the fact that the PBC has most of the fighters, Al Heyman is good. I mean, obviously he in the he in the throne seat, because he running the boxing game in the way. So Bob Arum is going to come to see him at his own turn.
He's an 80-year-old curmudgeon, and he can be stubborn even to the detriment of him and his boxers. So, and you're right. So with boxing, there's always been 3 what they call glamour divisions. So it's been welterweight, it's been middleweight, and it's been heavyweight. So right now, those are all pretty healthy right now. Middleweight needs kind of some clarification in there, but those things are healthy. And one thing I want to say about the franchise title that I think one person did an excellent job of kind of summarizing. They said that is a title that you give to somebody who is scared of the big black guys or scared of fighting the big black guys.
Well, that was the guy with the mask.
That was
from Gervonta
the mask trainer from the Gervonta Davis camp. I thought that was a perfect way to kind of sum up the BS that is the franchise
So
title.
obviously the zone gonna come into play with the PBC, but at the end of the day, like I said, the talent pool Al Haymon has. So if the PBC becomes this strong franchise with this undisputed title, these fighters is gonna have to come see Al Haymon and sign with Al Haymon. These promoters are gonna have to come see Al Haymon and work with him. So he's trying to establish that dominance in the sport. Obviously, Bob Arum sued him for $100 million. Oscar De La Hoya sued him for $400 million. They failed because they mad at the brother for succeeding in his plan. Obviously, he went to free TV. Bob Arum did the same thing. You know, Eddie Hearn tried to do this DAZN thing, but it don't look like it's working that much because Canelo Alvarez is not the face of boxing anymore. It's Deontay Wilder and Errol Spence looking alike, and that's fighters to sign with Al Haymon. So, you know, to that you say what? Do you see, you know, Al Haymon, you know, dominating the game, or is he gonna go run into obstacles?
I would not like to see it. The thing is, even though I love Al Haymon and his credit, I just think that theoretically monopolies are unhealthy, right? So when you had it, so if he monopolizes the sport and he has all of the fight, even though I just don't think that that's healthy. I like competition in there, even though I have certain disdain for Bob Arum, and I think that Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya is kind of running a bit of a circus over there. I don't like the feeling that there's just this one controlling arm, but UFC has been very successful in doing that.
That's what I'm saying. So Al Haymon has been the most successful in the boxing game. Let's all be honest. I mean, since he entered the boxing game with Floyd, he been killing it with Floyd and now with the PBC. And we got to be honest here. The manager, I'm not going to say the promoter, that having the most success even with fights. I mean, he giving us quality and quantity. He making the biggest fights. If you ask me, I mean, obviously Bob Arum stopped the Tyson Fury versus Wilder from happening. It was Bob Arum who was stopping Manny Pacquiao from fighting Floyd at the time. And now he's doing it kind of to Terrence versus Errol Spence. But because Errol Spence has the leverage and Al Haymon have the leverage, he's stating he want to make it now. But obviously he want a 50-50 split, which is not possible because Errol Spence is the biggest star. So what I'm saying is Al Haymon is willing to work with these people. But at the end of the day, you know, he's outsmarting them. I mean, he playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's 10 steps ahead of them every time. And if Al Haymon is able to make it like the UFC, where it's the best versus the best, when we don't got to wait no more because everybody fight under the same network, is not too many promoters involved, then I would love to see that because it's going to help clear the sport up. And we're going to see the best versus the best and one face and one name in the sport. And we're not going to be confused with all these titles because it's cool for the boxing hardcores, but the casual fans get lost in the sauce. They don't know what's going on. It's too much confusion. And it's hard to become a fan of the sport when it's all that going on. You think the fighter you tuning in and you love is the champion, and you hear there's 3 other more champions. You're like, hold on, what's going on? It ain't like, you know, you don't know who the champion is in every weight division. And that been a problem with the sport. And the fights not happening on time. I believe Al Haymon did the best job from all these other promoters and managers. So
you are right. But
you know,
I mean,
if he's successful with his plan, I'm not saying they're going to get rid of or the fighters that win the PBC belt. They're going to, you know, vacate the other belts. But I'm saying maybe that's the idea of it, is to make one face, one name, the undisputed champion, represent the PBC belt on the PBC belt only instead of all the other belts. You know what I'm saying? And then when you win the PBC belt,
it sounds good.
Yeah, and when you win the PBC belt, people gonna have respect on you. Like, they're gonna put some respect on your name.
It was similar to that, right? Because they used to have the Ring magazine belts. Right, so then they tried to accomplish do something similar to that.
Yeah, but the Ring magazine, like I said, it ain't no purpose. Like, unless the PBC champion is gonna, you know, hold all the other belts and not vacate, then my will either vacate all or keep them all. That's all I'm saying. Either keep them all with the PBC or vacate all and just keep the PBC. Right. So it won't be confusion. It won't be too much confusion because now we're going to have the PBC undisputed champion and then all the other belts go to all these other fighters. So fans get even more confused. You get what I'm saying? So I believe if he's able to pull it off, he's going to have to establish monopoly like the UFC did with the MMA. I mean, it's a lot of MMA champions that's with different belts.
You're right.
That's not the UFC.
There's Pride. There's one. But when we speak about MMA, people automatically they flock to UFC. One thing I will say, even though I love how they do their promotion, I think they do an excellent job of doing that, the way that they push their fights. But there has been some issues about the pay for UFC fighters.
Well, that's not the problem in boxing. Fighters get paid in boxing. You know what I'm saying? So, hopping on to the next topic, Charlo versus Tony. Obviously, you know, the latest press conference of the year, trash talk, back and forth. I believe Tony took the first press conference when they were supposed to have the rematch. I believe this time Charlo got the best of him because he had us questioning Tony like, what's up with the injury? Where is the x-ray? You know, because an ankle injury, it's a serious injury for a boxer. Yeah. And the fact that you went the Manny Pacquiao route and claimed, look, you know, it's going to heal on its own, I ain't too comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? And then he didn't show no doctor note, I believe. He didn't show no x-ray, that's for sure. So if you did have it, why not clear it up? Like, hey, look at it. And he had a whole, segment where he was being sarcastic, talking to his partner, how he's going to play the game and fight him in December and pull out of the fight and stuff like that. And yeah, you're trying to be sarcastic, but you have a history of saying I could have faked an injury, and then you had an injury.
It's not a good look.
And you had an injury, so Charlo questioned it, saying you got dropped in sparring, and that's why you pulled out. And then you don't show no x-ray. So there's a question mark, regardless of what people say. Obviously, that's why I keep telling people Charlo, the twin brothers are hated because regardless of what they say, they could say the right thing or the wrong thing. Damn if you do or damn if you don't. So it don't matter what they say because they could say I'm going to fight everybody and the video will still have more dislikes than likes. It's not because what they say, what they do, it's because what they look like. And obviously, they have the persona where they obviously talking trash and stuff. So
I think that has a lot to do with it.
But at the end of the day, guess what? The fight gonna that's what sells the fight.
It was.
They got people tuning in.
You're right about that. It does kind of. But so the reason that I would not give this round to Charlo, I'm not hating on it. I actually thought Charlo won the first fight, and I'm picking him to win this fight. Is that he is so emotional or passionate, as he likes to say, that when Tony speaks, he draws a reaction out of Charlo. And then when Charlo speaks, Tony is just kind of like he'll laugh it off. He just seems his demeanor.
He a calm person.
Cool. It's a lot cool. Yeah, it's almost like how he boxes, right? He's very composed, doesn't get too excited. And then with Charlo, it's really easy to draw a reaction out of him. So when you know that you can get under somebody's skin and get into their head, he's going to play upon that. And then so I was actually kind of surprised with some of the disrespect that he had to Charlo. And Charlo was basically like 2 feet away, and his handlers were actually trying to calm him down. He was like, man, what do you expect? This guy's calling me a B, and he's sitting right. So it's like with Charlo is that he has to contain that in a sense, or at least channel it.
He has to turn it. He has to
in a better way.
He has to know the right time to turn it on and turn it off. But one thing for sure, I feel like he had the right energy. You know, it's just that when Tony was talking to him, you got to just ignore all that. You know, you say whatever you got to say, but you know what I'm saying? It comes from one ear out the other. You know what I'm saying? Don't think too much of it. Because obviously what Tony's trying to do is trying to get in his head. Trying to get, very passionate about the fight where he's going to let his emotion, come into play fight night. And you don't want that to happen. Obviously for a boxer, the quickest way to get knocked out is look for the knockout. But I believe Charlo is just talking his shit. That's him as a person. That's his persona. It sells tickets.
It's very genuine. That's one thing I will give to him. This is
and he's real.
Genuine.
That's his.
It is.
It's not like he capping for the camera or he actually trying to hold back. Like that's what people don't understand. Charlo is being as nice as he can. Like he trying to hold back. Like okay, people telling me to calm down. I'm trying to calm down. He actually trying to calm down. But I'm saying is, fight night. I believe the fact that he said he passionate, like last time we had the episode when we were going back and forth yelling and stuff, what I said to the fans, we just passionate about the sport. That's why we, you know what I'm saying? But we probably had to calm it down a little bit because we on the podcast, the mics, we got us have it seeming like we're yelling at each other and stuff.
And I say, and we don't want to turn to The View. I have a hard time even watching clips from The View because it's just this
too much commotion going on.
Voice that's just like rah rah rah, and then it's like, and then so I don't want that because we have substantive points that we can get across, that we can articulate, and then that's what I think the fans are chiming in.
Yeah. But getting back to the point, I believe Charlo need all that in the ring though. I believe he need to be aggressive and work his jab, go to the body, not letting Tony fight at his pace. Because Tony in the past always gassed out fighting a Nelson that was pushing the pace, and he was able to stop him. And keep in mind, every time Tony got stopped from the Hurd fight to the Nelson fight, he was winning. It's just that he let, it was easy for him to land. He was let his hand go, didn't fight his fight. And because obviously he couldn't keep the momentum, he ended up getting knocked out. I believe Charlo need to keep on, constant pressure. Don't fight at spots. Right. Use your jab. Go to the body. He spars Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence go to the body. Be that body snatcher in that fight.
Has to go to he was headhunting that first fight, and he paid for it.
And he won, in my opinion. That's why it was a close fight. It was a close fight.
I actually had him winning that fight. And I still did, but at the same time, boxing is at times can be a very subjective sport unless you knock that person out.
I felt like Tony knew what time it was, but when he heard his name get called, you saw how happy he was. Obviously, he's supposed to.
If you watch when they had announced it, because I thought the same thing, but when they announced the scorecards, Tony was doing this, like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he definitely was landing the jab, but in my opinion, Charlo won that fight probably like 8 rounds to 4, 7 rounds to 5 at least. But like I said, I gotta go back and rewatched it, and they got a second chance to make it clear. Charlo, he could stamp his victory now if he could win by knockout, and that's his plan. Like I said, in order to get the knockout, you gotta break Tony down.
Break him down.
You know what I'm saying?
Go to the body.
And I believe he need to have that same energy in the ring, and that's all. Let his hand fly, and don't haymaker everything. Exactly. Sometimes you gotta set up the knockout. That's the only thing I believe. I believe this is the funny part. I believe Jamal Charlo he fights. He prefers fighting orthodox fighters. Meanwhile, Jamal Charlo, he does better against southpaws because obviously he got to spar Lara and he got to spar Errol Spence. That's the best of both worlds. Even he said it in the past. Jamal Charlo, I feel like he better fighting southpaws, but because Tony has a great jab, great reach length, I think his reach length is like 76 or 76 and a half or something like that.
That's incredible.
Incredible for his height.
That's like a heavyweight reach.
That's why you can't really box this dude because he could use his jab all night. Charlo got a good jab too. He just has to use it. You know what I mean? And set up the knockout. Go to the body.
Break that body down.
Don't just head hunt all night. Now,
one thing I will say, I am definitely chomping at the bit to watch that fight.
Man, they got me pumped up. And I know all the haters, too, that don't like the Charlo brothers, they're going to tune in.
I know, and they think I don't like the Charlo brothers. That's not true. Like I said, I thought he won that first fight.
Nah, he just obviously on Canelo payroll. Y'all got to understand. But Deontay Wilder, the hardest hitter of all time in the heavyweight division.
I guess if it's in the heavyweight, it's just the hardest across. I mean, we can do
if you're the hardest hitter in the heavyweight division, you're the baddest man on the planet because obviously
of all time.
Because but hold on, let me give y'all the statistics on the Deontay Wilder. So Deontay Wilder, he has a KO percentage of 95%. The closest one to him is Rocky Marciano, 88%. But Rocky Marciano fought. I'm sorry. He fought an 80-year-old. You know what I'm saying? What was his name?
He fought
Joe Louis. Joe Louis. He was 80. Well, like, man, he was 45 at the time. He was done. And he didn't fight no prime fighters and no threats. Obviously, Klitschko 87%. Frank 84%, and George.
Was it Vladimir or Vitaly?
Vitaly. and George Foreman 84%. In my opinion, the hardest hitter of all time in the heavyweight division, pure power, because obviously Mike Tyson come into play if he stay focused, because he had the perfect combination of hand speed and power.
Yeah, and technique.
And technique. So Tyson is up there for sure. I mean, he got the best left hook in boxing almost, for his style. And George Foreman, pure power.
Yeah.
I still believe, George Foreman on that list too. Keep in mind, George Foreman, after he lost to Ali, he kind of retired for a long time. That's why he was the oldest heavyweight. He was the oldest heavyweight champion of all time, winning the title at 45 years old. And keep in mind, George Foreman fought 5 people in one night trying to prove himself after losing to Ali. But my point is this: George Foreman had better competition at his day. Wilder
That's my issue.
Yeah, Wilder got ducked though. Obviously, Klitschko ducked Wilder, AJ ducked Wilder, Povetkin tested positive, so he didn't have a chance to prove himself because these fighters were avoiding him or either turning, getting busted for PEDs, and the AJs of the world ducked him. But you got to keep in mind he has better record than Rocky Marciano, at least. And at the end of the day, if
a better
Klitschko
knockout record, but not a better record.
I mean, better record overall to me, because Ortiz, Fury, these guys, Rocky Marciano never fought guys like that. Wilder knocked out people 50 pounds heavier than him or knocked down. I mean, you got to keep in mind, even the Fury fight and the first Stavern fight, regardless of any Deontay Wilder fight, they got put on their ass. Wilder at least managed to knock down his opponent twice. Like Fury, he knocked him down twice. Stavern, the first time they fought, he got dropped twice as well. So my thing is, Wilder, regardless of who he fought, he still dropped. He does.
He has scary power. I've never thought. So I have my biases against Wilder. I'm not gonna say. I don't like his technique. I don't think he gives enough attention to his technique.
That's technique to that madness, though, because he getting the job done against
he does.
one of the best skill fighters in the division, like Ortiz.
He's got scary power, and he did lay into Ortiz, who I just think that Ortiz he dealt with the Cuban dilemma where we get them at too advanced of an age. I think there was the same thing with Rigondeaux. I don't even think that Ortiz is the age that they say. I think he's probably maybe 5 years older than that.
But regardless of that, he was the most avoided. He was the big boogeyman of the division. AJ ducked him. And just seeing how AJ fights, I believe I would favor Ortiz if he fought him when Wilder fought him the first time. Obviously, Ortiz, Dillian White avoided him for the longest. He didn't want none of that smoke.
Really?
I
thought Dillian White was calling for a fight.
He was capping for the fight, but when he got offered the fight, he turned it down. The WBC told him to become the mandatory, all you have to do is fight Ortiz. He turned it down, went another direction. Then he complains, how come I ain't the mandatory? Because he turned down the Ortiz fight. And then later on, you got tested positive for steroids.
That's
so
dumb.
my thing is this: he's still the boogeyman of the division. If he's that old, how come these fighters ain't hopping in the ring with him? It only took Wilder, the guy who's not afraid to hop in the ring with anybody. So we only could judge fighters on who they fought and the fighters that's willing to fight them. Wilder, these fighters is not willing to fight them. AJs of the world, the Klitschko's of the world. At the time, he didn't want to fight him, but he wanted to fight Stavern. He tried to fight Stavern for that WBC title, but when it's Wilder, he was like, nah, I ain't interested. You get what I'm saying? So that percentage is impressive to me because I didn't know that. I didn't know he had the highest knockout percentage. Obviously,
at one point he had knocked out everybody.
Yeah, and he definitely knocked down everybody.
Like Joshua should be up there too.
Because he don't have that many fights, and obviously he's not even the champion.
He's not even the
champion right now.
One point, but at one point he had knocked out everybody.
Yeah, but he not the champion right now.
But he didn't. He fought Parker, didn't knock him out, and then obviously he got knocked out.
And he didn't fight. He only have 20 fights though.
Yeah.
And you got to keep in mind Wilder have 40 plus fights.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of
AJ,
tomato cans.
And AJ, everybody have tomato cans. If you look at Rocky Marciano record, I believe he had the most tomato cans
forget
of all
him.
boxing.
I don't even like.
So that's what I'm saying.
Him. Yeah.
They got Rocky Marciano listed number 2. So all I'm saying, Wilder does have an eraser in his right hand.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? He will erase everything you wrote in the history book just with one punch. All he got to do is be perfect for 2 seconds, like he said. You got to be perfect the whole night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to be Floyd Mayweather the whole night. You know what I'm saying? So that's the hard part of fighting Deontay Wilder. That's why he the most feared and the most ducked, and that's why he called himself the baddest man on the planet.
And it's just basically one hand. The thing about why I like Tyson was a double-fisted, and not only that, but it was body shots, it was hooks, it was right hands. It would be subtle, but on the inside, he would jump to a southpaw, particularly when he did his
switching,
his
pivoting.
hook to the body and then uppercut combination, which was a work of art.
There was only one Iron Mike, but I'm saying Deontay Wilder of today, he's our Iron Mike because he out here laying cats out. I mean, regardless of the way he's doing it, people could say he's sloppy and this and that. At the end of the day, Ortiz is way more skilled than the Deontay Wilder. So there's skill to his madness. His awkwardness worked for him. And because obviously Ortiz is a fighter with short reach and all that, but he let his style work for him. Deontay Wilder, longer ranging, he made his style work for him. So you got to work with your attributes.
Yeah, I mean,
Wilder came to the
I'm
sport
gonna have
late.
to just get over it. Yeah, he did. He came super late. I just have to, as a boxing purist, it's kind of cringe-worthy sometimes when I
But
see
you gotta
this technique.
respect it. You gotta
No,
respect
it's all the respect.
Deontay Wilder, he looking sharp with that jab in training camp for the Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? He looking sharp for that one too. And Wilder got he got impressive.
He better
hand
watch
speed.
out for that right hook. No, his hand speed is crazy. His leverage, he's similar to Tommy Hearns without the technique. He didn't come from Crunk Gym, but in that Tommy was a string bean. But he had generated so much power because of his length, and he had so much leverage on his punches that he put Roberto Duran to sleep.
Yeah.
You know,
But see, that's the thing. Like Prince Nassim Hamed back in the day, obviously he wrote his own book. Roy Jones did too. Wilder is the same way. He's awkward. He does some things that's unorthodox. Sometimes, he is wild, but he only get wild then, he becomes the Wilder when he hurts you. He ain't gonna do that prior to that. Like when you watch the Ortiz fight, the first time they fought, he was fighting pretty technical and pretty good before he hurt him. Well, he was gets wild.
He was getting outboxed.
Yeah, but he was doing pretty good. Like he wasn't like
he got caught with that right hook.
That's when he got hurt. That's why we seeing the rematch. So that's what I'm saying. Ortiz is a live dog in there. So obviously that's this week. Tune in. We dropped our prediction on that, so I'm gonna leave that link to in the comment section. I'm gonna pin the comments. So check our prediction out when it comes to that fight. Now
I don't think we're gonna be able to go live though.
No, we will go live for that one. Trust me.
Okay.
That's Deion, man. That's the baddest man on the planet. The face of boxing. Stop playing with him. We gonna go live, y'all. If you didn't know, now you know.
We'll let it be known.
If you didn't know, now you know. So Foreman came out and stated Floyd Mayweather the greatest of all time, middleweight and below. Now I'm thinking he meant below middleweight because Floyd never fought at middleweight. I believe middleweight and above is Roy Jones Jr. I believe
greatest of all time.
Yeah, greatest of all time, middleweight and above. I believe.
There was Sugar Ray Robinson who.
Man, listen, middleweight and above, nobody messed with Roy Jones in his prime. Respect to Sugar Ray Robinson and all that, but he belongs in the lower weight divisions. Sugar Ray Robinson fought a lightweight, man. Roy Jones, his size and weight, man, he will whip anybody middleweight and above. So I say because he won even at heavyweight, he won a title at heavyweight. That's how bad of a man he was. Heavyweight, I believe, is Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time.
Easy.
Below middleweight, you could say Floyd, Sugar Ray Robertson, obviously, Sugar Ray Leonard. It matters the competition you had. Obviously, Floyd did have a Pacquiao, and he dominated Pacquiao. He had a lot of great champions that he beat. Sugar Ray Leonard had Hagler, Hearn, Duran. He had great names. Ali, the reason he the greatest of all time in the heavyweight division because of the competition he had.
Yeah,
he fought Frazier, one of the greatest of all time, George Foreman, and keep in mind he fought them at a disadvantage.
Ernie Shavers, Sonny Liston. The list.
And Ali in his prime, we didn't even get to see his prime, but I'm talking about he fought the Frazier of the world, George Foreman's of the world after the layoff when he was fighting for a purpose at the time. And when he came back, he beat these guys at their best while he wasn't at his best. So that's why Ali the greatest of all time, in my opinion. But for middleweight and below, would you co-sign George Foreman, or you have a different, fighter for that? Or you think?
I mean, it's struggles. I love. That's why I like to say who's the best of your generation. So me and my father, who's a person that introduced me to boxing, he's a scholar in the art of pugilism himself. He thinks that Floyd Mayweather like easily surpasses Sugar Ray Robinson, and I have a hard time saying that, because you have to understand that Sugar Ray Robinson had 100 and plus something fights and whatnot, so we don't really know. But like during his prime, he was undefeated. Nobody really touched him, and this guy was a true artist in the ring. And you got to think about, this was somebody who was fighting every month, sometimes every 2 weeks.
And he was 100. He went, I believe 123 fights in a row where he only lost one fight where he took a dive. Man, he took a dive. They brought him some money. Hey, let this dude beat you. So it'd be white versus black, and come back and beat him 4 more times. And that's exactly what he did. So I don't see that fighter in particular beating Sugar Ray Robinson. But in my opinion, he was one of the baddest. But I never seen him in his prime. Nobody did, obviously, because they didn't have tape. But after that, we saw a couple clips when he was in the middleweight division and stuff like that. And he looked impressive. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather way more technical. But you could easily make an argument for Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, because Sugar Ray Leonard, at the end of the day, let's compare him this way. If Floyd Mayweather fights Sugar Ray Leonard at 147, people would probably favor Sugar Ray Leonard.
I would have to.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind, that's Floyd Mayweather 4th division moving up.
You're right.
So let's compare Sugar Ray Leonard 4th division against a 4th division fighter like today, like Andre Ward at 168 versus the Sugar Ray Leonard we saw at 168. It's a no-brainer that Ward will beat him. You know what I'm saying? It's not even as close of a fight as a Floyd versus Sugar Ray Leonard.
I can't argue with that.
So my point is this. Floyd Mayweather, in his 4th division, he was so dominant. 5th division, so dominant. So you got to respect that, too. Floyd, fighters do evolve. Fighters do get better. Fighters do learn better techniques. So Floyd, easy argument that he beat most of the champions, more champions than anybody on the list. Yeah, he had less fights than Sugar Ray Robinson, than Sugar Ray Leonard, but obviously he beat more fighters than them. That's champions. But back in the day, there was only 1 belt. Equivalent today, there's 4 belts. So you could say he beat more champions back in the day.
Exactly.
One champion is 4. Exactly. He has 4 titles today.
It was a lot
easier
to be a champion during his reign.
Exactly. So these things come into play. So I'm not gonna, I could see anybody points. I respect Floyd. I believe he was one of the greatest, the best of our era, definitely.
Easy.
Sugar Ray Robinson, I respect him too. So I'm gonna just say you could make an argument for both. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I would, even though I would give Sugar Ray Leonard the advantage over Floyd at welterweight, I think that Floyd had easily the better career and was the better boxer overall.
For sure. Now, hop into the next topic. We have the IBF and the WBO trying to mandate Pulev and Usyk for the Ruiz versus AJ winner. So obviously, Ruiz came out stating he want to fight Deontay Wilder next. He want to become undisputed. He want to be the first Mexican undisputed heavyweight champion in the world. That's why I got so much respect for him. He don't just want to be a champion, the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world with 3 belts, 3 straps on his side. He want to be undisputed, where there's no question he the best in the world. Yeah. So he wants one face, one name. Deontay Wilder wants the same name. They both have a lot of respect for each other. If you didn't see the PBC interview where Ruiz wishing him luck, Wilder wishing him luck, they talking about
at the top.
Wilder talking about he can never forget. Ruiz talking about mama, we don't got to struggle no more. We made it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So they both got respect for each other and they want to fight each other. Now the organization want to come in between because politics of boxing, like Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, want to stop that from happening because they not making any money. They don't want to give the leverage to the PBC because Wilder is with the PBC. Ruiz signed with Al Heyman. So they don't want the PBC thing to happen that we talked about earlier, where it's one name, one face, one name, and one belt, the PBC belt. Yeah. They don't want that to happen, because then Fury, his contract about to be up with ESPN. Then he's going to have to come see Wilder at PBC. AJ the same way. He don't have no more leverage losing to Ruiz twice if he does. So what you think about this thing?
You mean Joshua?
Joshua. What's your take on the WBO and the IBF doing that? Because obviously even Al Heyman was trying to get rid of the WBO title because obviously they have so much ties with Bob Arum, and there's a lot of corruption going on. So how you feel about the whole situation? And Wilder and Ruiz already both kind of stated like, hey, if the organization planning on stripping us, go ahead. People still recognize us as the champion, so he's willing to even fight Ruiz just for one belt. He don't care if the organization willing to come on board or not, because he want to clear the sport up, just as he did with the franchise, title. He stated he not interested in that. Even Benavidez came out and co-signed that as well. Inoue did too. So Terrence Crawford did too. So what's your take on it? On the WBO, on the IBF?
Usyk has had one fight.
And it was a replacement fight.
And exactly. And then Pulev, like I would go similar. This is different circumstances, but similar to Riddick Bowe. I would grab those two belts. I would throw them in a trash heap and tell them to keep it moving. If you want to make these guys paper champions,
make an example out of them, out of the organization.
That's BS. Like why are you mandating? So this Ruiz beat Joshua, who out there, and then he's giving him a rematch, which was part of his contract, and then he wants to go and unify those belts, and then you're gonna try to mandate
and a unified trump any mandatory. A unification trumps any mandatory, but because obviously the Bob Arum got WBO in his pocket. That's why he could pull a power move like that. The IBF obviously always mandate. And why they didn't do that, for obviously they did that to Canelo with Deveryachenko, where he got stripped of the belt. But like I said, unlike Canelo, Ruiz and Wilder want to unify. You know what I'm saying? If Canelo was in that shoe and he wanted to unify, they wasn't going to strip him. But because it's obviously Ruiz and they want to stop the unification from happening, where we're going to have one face, one name in the sport, they're going to try to stop that from happening. And keep in mind, that's the first Mexican heavyweight world champion versus the longest reigning heavyweight and champion period in the sport today, Deontay Wilder. They trying to stop that from happening. They helping they hurting the sport. They're not helping the sport grow.
Exactly. This is another example of boxing shooting itself, and not even in the foot, in the face. This is that's what it is. I mean, this is it's
a suicide.
Dumb. I do not understand it, and I take those belts and throw them away.
And then they say why we co-signed the PBC and Al Heyman, because obviously they have the leverage. Why y'all mad when they providing us the best fights from all the other promoters and managers? Y'all mad Al Heyman outsmarted all the promoters and managers? Sound like y'all hating me. That's what I'm saying. Man. That's all I'm saying.
That's a smart guy.
That's a smart man. He came to the game. He didn't even he wasn't even a promoter, none of that. He was out there in the hip hop industry, in the music industry. He came to the boxing game and he took over. Golden Boy supposedly having all these fighters. Whatever Oscar doing, obviously we ain't gonna get to his business. But what I'm saying is, he was too busy having fun, and Richard, he was out here being a pimp. He didn't pimp Oscar out of his fighters. I don't know how that whole situation took place, but Al Heyman is on top. You know what I'm saying?
Ugly. Oscar didn't know what came.
It was tight. He sued Al Heyman for $400 million.
Yeah, get out of here.
Bob Arum sued Al Heyman for $100 million.
Is a Harvard trained lawyer. Right.
Bob Arum was too, but
I'm saying, but I'm talking about
losing his touch. You don't know what's going on.
But he's a little bit older. He's not in that, and then Oscar is just a box. He's not a promoter. He's just a face, and he was not smart enough to deal with somebody and you get Richard Schaefer and Al Heyman together. It's a wrap. You get the PBC.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right now, Errol Spence trainer came out and stated that he haven't seen Errol Spence since the car crash. Now, obviously, any good news about Errol Spence, I'll report on it because that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him back healthy. I even want him to take a year off if he have to. I don't want him to rush it, none of that. I want him to be back 100%. Now, his trainer said he haven't seen him since the car crash. Now, you know, he my guy, the coach. But at the end of the day, I got to tell her like it is. Obviously, he's trying to keep things, you know, in-house. He don't want to talk about anything right now. He don't want to relieve it because he knows a lot of questions are going to come his way. So he's just like, oh, I ain't seen him. But I know he's seen him. He probably was the first person picking up Errol Spence at the car scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no way you haven't seen him since then if you his lifetime coach and y'all ride or die with each other. So I don't buy that. You know what I'm saying? But why would he say something like that unless obviously that Errol Spence is not doing as good as they claim he is? That's what the fans are saying. They're saying, oh, Aki, if you out here claiming Errol Spence is doing good, he'd probably be back in the spring, late spring. If that's the case, then how come his trainer claiming he haven't seen him yet? So what do you think about the whole situation? Because I made a video, you know, just, you know, reporting the good news that a friend of his stated that Errol Spence told him he'd probably be back in the spring. So what's your take on that?
I think part of it is that they want to keep everything really close to the vest right now. And then so there is speculation, but that he's dealing with a lot of kind of like facial issues, like with his teeth. I
laceration and stuff like that.
Yeah, laceration. So part of it is that if he's seen him and he says that, they're gonna know, well, how's he look? Yeah. How's he doing and stuff? So what I think he's saying is like, oh, I haven't seen him, so then I don't have to answer those questions. Yeah, I don't have to do those things. So I don't know. I hope for the best for Errol Spence. I think that he's going to be okay. I do agree with you. I think I was a little naive in saying something that he could come back into the spring. I think even on the earlier episode.
Well, he said a friend of his said that Errol Spence said that anyway.
He did that.
So I don't know.
I agree with you. I think it would be good for him to take about a year off. The problem is that the longer you are out of the view of the public, that your branding takes an impact.
Yeah, not Errol Spence, not from this situation.
You don't think so?
Because it's so much worry that's going on. Every time I drop an Errol Spence video, it goes viral. So okay. I mean, Errol Spence, he's a superstar in the game or on the way to becoming a superstar. So everybody checking on him. So I believe he's not doing, you know, obviously he's not 100%. Mm-hmm. But he's not doing as bad as people think, because I go on Instagram, he always posting, you know, reposting his fans. Okay. And he's not like, you know, he just probably got lacerations and he don't want to show his face till he cleaned up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He want to have that clean boy image, you know what I mean? So he not trying to go on TV while he got lacerations and stuff, or have an image of him come out while he has lacerations, because it's gonna go viral. So he don't want that.
And your face swell up. When I was a teenager, I was in high school and I got into a car accident, and my cousin ran into the back of a car, and then so I was, you know, ejected from my seat, and I hit the windshield. So I don't know if you ever seen the kind of web pattern. Yeah. And when it did, like, blood just came out of my face. My lip was split open. I did this, and I did not want to go to school. And then they were coming by. They were just like saying something. I was like, man, I'm like, do you see this face right here? Yeah. I just started talking to this little cutie, you know, in there, and like, I'm not going to, like, my lip was.
And he a boxing figure. He ain't just going to school. He about to be on TV. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Every network, any media will pick up that and show his picture. So obviously he want to show himself when he's ready and he feel comfortable. So no rush, you know, whenever he want to show his face or do an interview, inshallah, he will come back stronger than ever at the end of the day. I just want to see the brother back 100%, back 100%, I should say, because I don't want to see him, you know, 80% there, or, you know what I'm saying, hopping back in the ring. I want him to be 100%. Inshallah, he come back stronger than ever, though. Now, hopping into the, you know, on to the next topic, we got Gervonta Davis, trainer, responding to Billy Haney. You know, shots are fired. Fired. I made a video where it went viral, where Devin Haney stated he got the best of Gervonta Tank Davis. I stated what happens in sparring stays in sparring, but I'm just reporting what's out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just putting my 2 cents in there. Now, Devin Haney, he told that, or he stated that, hey, listen, he got the best of me the first time we sparred. However, the second time, I got the best of him, basically. Just to sum it up, check out the video. I'll leave it in the description box below. Now, Gervonta Tank's, trainer, he would ride or die for his man, but at the end of the day, he came out responding to Billy Haney. He stated, it's not true what you said. It was Floyd Mayweather who told Gervonta Tank Davis, take it easy. I seen a video with Ellie Setback where he was recording this at the time. It was a long time ago where Devin Haney was 16 years old. And he recorded Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather, he was saying Devin Haney's his guy, and he's about to spar Adrian Bonham, man, and that's Gervonta Tank Davis, and they had 300 people there. Everybody came and stuff like that. So it was doghouse rule, fight to somebody, quit, and Billy Div saying that, hey, I want some money from Adrian Bonadad. So it was that serious. But Gervonta Tank Davis trainer, he's saying Floyd Mayweather, he told him to take it easy. You know what I mean? Because obviously he liked Devin Haney. That's his fighter too. And he signed Gervonta Tank Davis because he didn't have him spar Gamboa. He didn't have him spar Devin Haney and a lot of guys. Floyd James, he got to believe in you. He got to see something in you for him to sign you. So Gervonta Tank Davis has to be the truth if Floyd Mayweather co-signs him. But Devin Haney is also the truth. Now, Billy Haney, he want to basically build that fight, and he calling for that fight to happen next. He's saying, if you think if my son is not a real champion because he didn't earn the title, which is not his fault because Lomachenko, he requested the French fries title, then how about you fight us for a title because he's the #1 mandatory for his belt. And just to inform you, Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Gamboa, and he's about to be the #1 mandatory for Lomachenko. So he could go either direction. Yeah. Now, Top Rank plan did work. They were trying to kind of get Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis, the murderers, role to fight each other. Yeah. Instead of fighting Lomachenko. And then the winner of that could fight Lomachenko in a way. You know what I'm saying? The best of two evil in a way. That's what Top Rank kind of planned on doing. And I don't know if they succeeded because Devin Haney stated Floyd Mayweather smarter than that. He ain't going to put Devin Haney in the ring with me because he already know what time it is. So to that, you say what? Gervonta trainer responding to, Devin Haney's father and stuff like that.
So I part of me has a bit of an issue because there is an unwritten rule, and you did talk about it, which I give you props in that usually what happens in sparring stays in sparring. So I actually commend.
But they Devin Haney when his father broke.
I know they kind of broke in and so I actually that's what I was gonna say. I respect Gervonta Davis' trainer because he did kind of acknowledge that, but he did in a certain way. He did have to respond to it, but he was like, I'm not going to get into details because we respect these rules of that. Like what happens in there should stay within there. I actually don't want to see them fight at this point. I think it's a little bit too early. I would like them to build up their profiles at that time. I actually think that Tank Davis is a little more advanced in his career at this point.
Well, you know Blue Blood TV when he was interviewing the trainer, the mask guy came on. He stated, he got dropped in sparring. Yeah, like the first time they sparred. But Devin Haney already admitted, hey, I lost his first sparring, but the second sparring I got the best of him. But it didn't even get to that, which I didn't get what he mean by that. Like, so it wasn't like you about to stop him because it's doghouse rule. It's just saying that it was getting intense and they stopped it. They pulled back. But Devin Haney's father, he claiming, hey, I wasn't going to stop it because he was mad at me for stopping it the first time. Yeah. So that being said, what happens in sparring stays in sparring. But I would say this. In a boxing ring, in the professional, it's different in sparring because it's smaller gloves. Obviously, in sparring, you got pillow gloves or 16 ounce. Yeah. And Gervonta Tank Davis being the harder puncher, obviously in the pros or in a real fight, he benefits better than a sparring. And obviously, is no headgear. So if he does crack you, that power going to come into play more so than just in sparring. Yeah. So I will say that when it comes to Gervonta defense. But they're going to have to fight each other eventually because they got history. I mean,
good.
they
And
putting it out there.
it'll
Hey,
be
we
a-
want the
it'll
smoke.
be-
And
it'll be
Javante
a-
Tank Davis got to put some respect on his name because he got this Devin Haney disrespecting him. But Devin Haney's also kind of responding to Javante because, you know, he was calling him basically a paper champion because he didn't earn the belt because Lomachenko didn't want to fight him.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of on that same boat. It's hard for me to recognize Devin Haney as a champion.
Well,
Like
I recognize him.
with Tank Davis. I don't have a problem. Like I've known the guys
he's
that
not
he's
a champion
beat.
at that division.
Well, he's not, but I'm saying as a Devin Haney. I mean, Tank Davis has been a champion. And he lost his belt.
You mean Javante Davis?
I mean, excuse me. Yeah,
he lost his belt on
Tank
the scale.
Davis. Yeah, he lost his belt on the scale. I don't really have a problem with calling him a champion. With Devin Haney, it's kind of I do view him as a paper champion.
Now I don't want to
sorry.
disrespect Javante Tank Davis because he beat Pedraza the first belt, and that was a big victory. He just lost on the scales. But the second time he fought kind of like, I forgot who he fought for the title, but he got elevated to the super title. And Devin Haney pointed out, hey, how did you get elevated to the super title? Mm-hmm. And they make the super champions the regular champions. Back in the day, you have to defend your title 10 times in order to become a super champion. Like Prince Nassim Hamed back in the day, you have to defend it 10 times to become a super champion. That's why there's too many belts in boxing. That's the issue you talked about earlier about the PBC making undisputed belt. And that might work in the sport of boxing. We need that. You know what I mean? But like I said, how did he get elevated to that without doing anything? How did Lomachenko get elevated to franchise title just by requesting it? So obviously it's a lot of corruption, but what I'm saying is Devin Haney, it's not his fault that he wanted to fight Lomachenko, requested that fight, and Lomachenko ducking him and requesting the franchise title. It's not his fault. So to me, he's a world champion because Lomachenko did what Riddick Bowe did back in the day and threw the belt to the trash when Lennox Lewis was trying to fight him. So I respect Devin Haney and I view him as a champion. Now, Javante Tank Davis, he's not a champion at 135. He just moved up, but obviously he might fight Lomachenko. He wants the Lomachenko fight. He claimed, hey, I fight Taylor next. I fight Lomachenko if Lomachenko willing to fight me next, either early 2020, mid 2020, late 2020. And he's his mandatory. So Lomachenko, he keep claiming, hey, you pound for pound on Twitter, but hey, Tank Davis wants to fight now. So what's up? So like I said,
he's gonna have to come see them at some point. He's gonna have to come see them.
Tank Davis, he will fight Devin Haney, in my opinion.
But I thought Floyd was keeping Tank away from Lomachenko at one point.
Well, when he had an issue with Devin with Tank, he tried to throw him in the ring with Lomachenko. But after he cleared that up, he kind of pushing the fight away. And it's Tank that's actually wanting the fight or pushing for it. And Floyd was like, we make it happen at the right time. Now, I believe now is the right time. Like, all this hype after Lomachenko.
I think it's a good time.
And he might not make it. If you don't fight him now, if one of these young guns catch him, he might not make it. Devin Haney might beat him. You never know who could beat Lomachenko. He's not undefeated. ESPN could erase his loss all they want, but he's not undefeated.
I mean, lightweight is booming now.
It's booming.
Like, we got Comey, we got Teofimo Lopez, we got Garcia. I mean, it's booming right now.
Exactly. So, we'll see what happens with that. I just want to, bring the whole situation and clarify what took place in a way. But what happens in sparring stays in sparring. And sparring is just sparring at the end of the day. They're going to have to get in the ring and dog it out. Forget dog rules. How about fighting in the ring in front of the world? And let's see it. So hopefully they make that fight in the future. Off of it. Yeah. So on to the next topic. Manny Pacquiao. He said he stated that because he won't have no Senate in during the month of March and April, he want to fight during that time. So he could fight obviously Danny Garcia or Mikey Garcia. Funny enough, I talked about earlier. Errol Spence told one of his friends that he probably returned in the spring, late spring. That's late spring. So if Manny Pacquiao, if he wasn't interested in the Errol Spence fight, now he's seeing Errol Spence get in a car accident. Like, that's the best chance to catching him. It's a big fight. He just got out of a car accident. People don't know how he's doing. It's going to make a lot of noise fighting Manny Pacquiao, who just beat Keith Thurman. Another guy that was kind of coming off a long layoff, fighting Lopez, not looking too good. Errol Spence looked good his last fight with Porter. It was a classic fight. Obviously, he didn't stop Porter, but it was the best version of Porter that we've seen in a long time. And Errol Spence still won around 8 rounds to 4. So if Manny's going to fight Errol Spence, it's going to be now if Errol Spence could return in March or April. He stated, hey, I could return in the spring. I'm just stating it could be an Errol Spence fight. If it's not an Errol Spence, maybe a Danny Garcia, replacing an Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. If it's not either, it's either a Mikey Garcia fight. Freddie Roach want to see either Danny Garcia or Errol Spence. That's what he stated. Now, what's your take on that? Who you think Manny going to fight next? Is Errol Spence a possibility? I ain't trying to speculate, but I'm just saying I'm putting 2 and 2 together. You know, I reported on that news. Now we're reporting on this. It's kind of like
I
on
think
the same
for several reasons, the car crash gives Manny an out. So originally, I was really, I had kind of placed my bet on Mikey Garcia getting that fight. I could possibly see Danny Garcia getting that fight now because he went and challenged Errol Spence, and with Errol Spence out for the foreseeable future, that could be. And with Danny Garcia, he's coming off a knockout win. Mikey Garcia is coming off of a loss, so I'm hedging my bets a little bit, but it's gonna be one of the Garcias at this point. I don't think it's any way that he's fighting Errol Spence. He's already beat Keith Thurman. He's already beat Adrian Broner at that weight division. And Terrence Crawford.
It won't be Terrence. Trust me. That's
not going to happen.
Well, I'm going to say this. I believe if it's Danny, obviously Keith Thurman beat Danny before the layoff and stuff. But one thing Danny has is a great chin. And Manny,
he does,
and he stand his
ground. Has he
ground.
been dropped? I don't think he's been dropped.
Yeah,
before.
And he got a great chin. I believe he will have better time kind of gauging Manny and his speed and timing him. And he's more of a confident kind of puncher where he's going to sit in the pocket and counter you. So I believe that's a tougher fight than a Mikey Garcia at this point because Mikey,
I think so too,
won't have that same size advantage that Danny will have. He coming off a loss. Danny Garcia coming off a great win, a knockout win, in fact. So even though I would love to see Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao, the fact that Errol Spence coming off, this injury, we don't know if he's gonna be back or not, if how soon he's gonna be back. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to see either Manny versus Danny Garcia or Mikey, but I believe it will be Danny. I don't think Manny gonna fight Mikey coming off the biggest ass whooping of the year because he haven't did nothing since, and it's hard to sell that fight.
That's kind of one of my issues is that
it's hard.
Mikey hasn't done anything to that point.
He could have easily went and fought a rigorous winner versus Taylor at anybody like at 140 and just get a victory just to kind of have the momentum where fighters, hey, look, Mikey looked good his last fight. What's up with the Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey? Is people not interested, and it's hard to sell the fight. Danny coming off a win, even though he just lost to Sean Porter, but still he coming off a win. It's easier to promote. Obviously, Errol Spence, that's $1 million pay-per-view, buys right there. But Errol Spence kind of out the equation till he kind of clears it out that, hey, I could really fight on that date. Yeah. I could make a return. So we'll see.
I think for Errol's, this will easily be his biggest fight to this point, and I just wouldn't want him to take that fight coming off of this type of a accident or injury.
If he's healthy, I'm all for it because he cannot miss on this opportunity that's going to make him a superstar in the game. I mean, obviously, he's just unified a division, selling back-to-back on pay-per-view, and now hopping in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. That's his Oscar De La Hoya all over again. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And then he still got big future fights with Terrence, with J. Rock Williams, Canelo, a mega fight in the future. Like, there's so many opportunities for Errol Spence. So if he could capture this moment, he could easily become the A-side on all of those fights in the future, especially if he stays winning. So I'll say if he could make it out and he could, be comfortable returning in spring, late spring, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest loser in all this is Terrence Crawford because we don't even mention his name when it comes to these welterweight fights.
Well, he better leave Top Rank as soon as possible because they just signed your boy, what's that dude at 118? Man, I forgot his name.
Oh,
Inouye.
Inouye.
They just signed him.
That's right.
They promote Lomachenko like he pound for pound number one when we all know he's not. And everybody put pound for pound list, especially on new media pound for pound list. And they not promoting Terrence Crawford. Where is the promotion for this fight? I don't even know when the fight is, and I mean, he fighting a gold medalist. They made such a big fuss when Lomachenko was fighting Luke Campbell, a guy that's already lost. He's not undefeated. Terrence Crawford fighting a gold medalist, and they not promoting that fight. I haven't seen Terrence Crawford anywhere getting promoted. So that's my issue. And why stick with Top Rank when they not being loyal to you? When they out here promoting Lomachenko, pushing Lomachenko, claiming that, hey, Terrence Crawford is our best talent, but Lomachenko more promotable. How is he more promotable when he don't even speak English better than Terrence Crawford, when he's not an American fighter, when he can't sell in the States, when y'all putting all this promotion behind him and he still can't sell in the States? Y'all even trying to erase his loss. So Terrence Crawford is kind of better off going to the PBC where it's all the talent pool. And if you go to the PBC, they're going to recognize him as the champion. And obviously, he's the odd man out, and he's the pound for pound number one. It's like everybody got to see him in the ring with these top welterweights, or a lot of fighters, a lot of analysts, experts, reporters gonna start taking Terrence Crawford off the pound for pound list, and they trying to do that already. And new media trying to clear it up, but I'm just saying, Terrence Crawford, if he know better, he got to do better. Yeah. If he want to count more cheddar, he gonna have to hop in the ring. I mean, sign with Al Heyman and go the Floyd Mayweather route. Ruiz did it. Manny Pacquiao did it. Floyd, Oscar did it. Even Ruiz, man. I mean, Mikey Garcia, like, follow the blueprint. Everybody was successful doing that, and they made more money. That's all I'm saying. So if your contract is about to be up, you better off leaving and going to the PBC. So Canelo Alvarez, he in negotiation with Saunders. See, he stated, he said, Saunders is boring. You know what I'm saying? He run too much. I don't like his style. When he got asked before when Saunders was looking good. As soon as Saunders fought on KSI versus Logan undercard, fighting an unknown fighter, losing that fight till he got the knockout, all of a sudden, Canelo interested. He stated Gennady Golovkin fight is possible. He willing to make that fight now. Yeah. Oh, you made all that fuss, but now when he lost against Deviachenko, when nobody want to see that trilogy match other than DAZN, who believe that's going to bring a lot of viewers, when it's not, because nobody really want to see that fight. Now you're interested in Saunders and Gennady Golovkin, who's looking to fight somebody that we never heard before again, when he promised Deviachenko a rematch. Yeah. When he promised Andre to his face that he's going to fight him again. People mad and say, I'm hating on Canelo. Nah, it's Canelo that opened himself for criticism. I'm not critiquing him. Marquez critiqued him. Morales critiqued him. Chavez Sr. critiqued him. You claim Marquez stated he's the greatest fighter of all time, right?
He did.
Marquez came on and stated, and I sent you the article. He stated that Canelo Alvarez is pound for pound number 3 after the Kovalev fight because he needed to fight fighters in their prime, like the Charlos of the world and the Andrews of the world. And Terrence Crawford is still pound for pound number 1. Lomachenko still pound for pound number 2. That's what Marquez believed. So I'm saying, that's the strike that you got last show. That still got the strike right here.
For what? For what?
You stated Marquez said that he did it.
He did. Hold on. All right. Go ahead with your point. And
yeah, but I'm saying I'm not hating. I'm just reporting the facts. I'm out here preaching. I ain't even reporting. So why they saying I'm hating when he opened himself for criticism because he claiming Andre is boring. But I promise you, if Andre look horrible his next fight, he probably consider him to fight next. So now, he
would never consider that fight.
So if you're telling me all you got to do is look bad for Canelo to consider fighting you, so Charlo and Andre need to follow that blueprint. Andre and Charlo dominate their opponents, and they be like, oh, look at them. Andre looked horrible his last fight when he just dominated a fighter Jacob struggled with. You know what I mean? Andre knock out Nilsson, the same guy that knocked out Tony, and people claim, oh, that's cherry picking. That's the same guy that knocked out Tony, but they claim he got a bad resume. Charlo getting dogged by Gennady Golovkin. They making every excuse in the book, and the excuse is getting dusty. We got to wipe the dust off before we talk about it because it's so old. So we not hating on Canelo. We just pointing out the
little
facts.
bit, little.
You know what I mean? He claimed he pound for pound #1, but he ain't even the best in his division. So that's my problem with Canelo. I'm saying I'm holding him to it. If you want to be pound for pound #1, do what Floyd Mayweather did. Fight fighters coming off their biggest win. Don't do what Manny Pacquiao did fighting Keith Thurman after the longest layoff and a bad performance, even though, to Manny Pacquiao credit, he's the older person. Canelo Alvarez in his prime. Do what Floyd Mayweather did fighting Ricochet Mosley coming off his biggest win. Every fighter coming off his biggest win, like Cotto, Canelo Alvarez even beating Trout when Floyd Mayweather beat him. So my point is this. If I pull out the list comparing Morales, because Morales is a fighter that criticized Canelo Alvarez, right?
Okay.
This is the list that Morales fought, right? Morales fought so many fighters in his prime.
Okay, so look it up. So let me just
You can play it. You can play
Let me play this.
This is Radio Raheem.
This is Radio Raheem.
Shout out to Radio Raheem. To this day, Google that shit if you don't know.
I say that. And I think, but it is not a surprise for me. Was a great knockout for a Mexican fighter.
Did you have him winning the fight up until that point, Canelo?
I have my card 96, 94 for me, for Canelo.
Do you think that he can continue to fight at 175 pounds and challenge the other champions?
I don't know if Canelo feel good. I don't know. It's decision for Canelo and for his team. I think he go back for 168 or 160. I don't know if he feel great. I don't know what's going to happen with Canelo.
And what about Kovalev? Can he continue to fight and challenge and maybe retain his or reclaim his belt?
I don't know. This is the decision for Kovalev and his team. I don't know. I don't know if Kovalev continue to fight. I don't know. This is a decision for Kovalev and his team.
Lastly, did you get a chance to watch Ryan Garcia, and what did you think of him?
They didn't say that.
Great prospect.
What?
Ryan Garcia is a great prospect in this sport. I think maybe 1 year he will be a world champion.
People are talking about Canelo being the greatest Mexican champion now after having knocked out Kovalev. What are you feeling about that?
Yes. He was a great performance for Canelo Alvarez. I think the same.
He's just saying that, like, if they want to say
I mean, I'm just saying, but like that.
Well, he the same person. You saw the article I sent you, right?
Yeah.
And what he said. He said Canelo #3 in the world today and Terence Crawford #1. So it's like.
But they're not Mexican. Those guys aren't Mexican. So
he's talking about Mexican. So
he could be the greatest or whatnot.
I don't know if he's the greatest Mexican.
Oh, no.
Sanchez
I wouldn't put him up there. I wouldn't put him up there. But I was surprised when Marquez said that. I'm like, dude, you a great Mexican champion. And you just got to thrust. And there's this recency bias that we have that, that just happened.
Because people critique him for being a Canelo hater. That's why he did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many people critiqued him for being a Canelo hater and shit like that. So I'm a call out the fighters that Eric Morales fought in his prime, right? This is you talking about being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, right? So Morales is how many fighters that he fought during his career. Junior Jones, Daniel, I can't even pronounce his name, Zaragoza, Marcos Antonio Barrera, 3 times a legendary fighter. Wayne McCullough, Kevin Kelly, Gutty 2 times, and Chin Chin. I don't know who that is, but you got my point. Yeah. Jesus Chavez, Manny Pacquiao 3 times. Zahir, David Diaz, Jois Alfredo.
He actually lost to Zahir, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying how many fighters he fought. Danny Garcia. He fought Danny Garcia. Yeah, he got tested positive for computer roll, but Canelo Alvarez got tested positive for computer roll in his prime. Morales did it toward the end of his career.
He also fought Marcus
Maidana, Pablo Casino Willie. I mean, it's so many fighters on this list. Like, damn, it's just so many fighters. Let me tell you.
He outboxed Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao was pound for pound, either number 2 or 3. I wouldn't say 1 because Floyd was still around, but he got outboxed by.
That's what I'm saying. Eddie Croft, Paulie Ayala. So I'm saying all these fighters, right? And comparing them to the Canelo Alvarez fighters that he fought in their prime, right? I'm going to just compare them real quick. This is the old fighters. This is not the prime fighters. This is the old fighters. Ricochet Mosley, 41. Baldomir, his left hook that you were talking about, he was 39 years old. Indal, 39 years old.
Yeah, Indo.
Gennady Golovkin, 35. Sergio Kovalev, 36. Ryan Rojardes, 35. Miguel Cotto, 35. Floyd Mayweather, that ass whooping, 36. A masterpiece. I mean, he took him he got a PhD degree that night, but he didn't graduate though because he obviously lost big time. But
he actually picked up some moves from Floyd. He moves at the waist now.
This is the fighters that was over the hill. Chavez Jr., Kermit.
Chavez Jr.
Kermit that Canelo fought.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
How was Chavez Jr. over the hill?
He fought him at a catch weight. Chavez done got knocked
Chavez
out so
Jr.
many times.
It's just whack anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
Chavez has never been knocked out.
That's what I'm saying. What do you mean? He got knocked out. Chavez Jr. got knocked out by Fortuna at 175. And
right.
Kermit, Amir Khan, James Kirkland, they coming off all bad performances. Matthew Hatton, that's Ricky Hatton brother, that was fighting at 147. He fought at 154 for the 154-pound belt. Alfredo Angulo. So I'm saying all these fighters, that's how many fighters he fought. And this is the article. I'm not making this up. I'm reading off an article that's just pointing out the facts that Canelo ain't fighting fighters in their prime. Like, there's only 3 fighters he fought in their prime: Lara, Trout, and Daniel Jacob. And that's it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. That's the problem that Canelo has. That's why Morales is looking, hold on, y'all trying to tell me this dude the greatest of all time, Mexican greatest fighter of all time?
I've never.
But that's what they saying. That's what they hyping him out to be.
That's the narrative that's out.
So that's what I'm saying. If the narrative is that, and they saying we hating Morales, I just called you out all these greatest fighters he fought, and he looking at Canelo. I had cherry picking, maneuvering around the best competition. He like, nah, you need to fight Charlo. You need to fight Andre. You need to fight Benavidez because I fought the best competition out there. You know who else fought the best competition out there? His promoter, Oscar De La Hoya. They got beef right now because Oscar probably looking at him like, you know who I fought in my prime? I fought Pernell Whitaker. I fought Floyd. I fought Corte. I fought
Sugar Shane Mosley.
At 147, the unification.
Sugar Shane Mosley?
No.
Well, not unification, but
I'm talking about when they were both undefeated when he fought.
Oh, Felix Trinidad.
Trinidad. Like, stop playing with him. He still fought the best. It's Canelo who got a guarantee purse and is not willing to step in the ring with the best. Period.
Well, that is the zone's fault.
That is Canelo's fault because even before that, he turned down the Jamal Charlo fight and Jamal Charlo left Golden Boy because they didn't fulfill his contract. He didn't fight Andrade and Charlo and Jamal Charlo at 154. He ain't fighting them at 160. He only considering Saunders when he avoided him in the past and claimed he not interested in him.
Right,
he only wanted to fight him now.
We do, but we have to be honest though. So when he fought Floyd Mayweather, right?
Who didn't want to fight Floyd though? First of all, but
exactly, he was 23 years old. He was green as hell.
How is he green? Floyd Mayweather, he looked at his best when he beat Morales at 24. You remember how Canelo looked against Angulo after that?
But he didn't fight a master.
When the last time he called? Name me the last master boxer he fought.
The last master was Lara.
And what happened in that fight?
It was a close decision.
Who you gave it to?
I had Lara.
I had Lara winning. That's what I'm saying. If they claim he got such better since the Floyd Mayweather lost,
he has easy.
Why he don't fight the Andrade of the world, the Charlos of the world, and prove it? Why he has to maneuver and be so strategic? It's for a reason. He ain't trying to see these brothers. Like I told you last show, Floyd Mayweather beat all his peoples on this Mexican Independent Day, but he won't fight these brothers on Mexican Independent Day for a payback. Like, you know what?
But you're comparing him against all-time greats.
Right? Oscar De La Hoya.
What was that? Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather, Morales, all time. But like, if you compare him against his contemporaries, his resume kills all of that.
I'm gonna get to that, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna get to that. First of all, I'm comparing him to the fighters that they claiming that he surpassed, the Morales, the Barreras, that I disagree with, the Chavez Sr. I don't think he's better than they. Yeah, I think Manny Pacquiao win for Marquez is better than any Canelo win. Period. So what I'm saying is, Canelo is maneuvering, not fighting the best, and they claiming he the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, which is a false statement, first of all.
And that's
you talking about comparing him to the fighters today.
We have not put that statement out here. That's a whole different narrative that we do not subscribe to on Split Decision.
But that's what they claiming he is. That's the narrative out there, right? So I'm saying this. You saying comparing to the fighters today.
Yeah, his contemporaries.
It's because he has better options. He fought on Mayweather undercard. He getting treated as this, he being spoiled in a way. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he has better opportunities. If he wants to fight Charlo, he will make that fight happen, right? He could make that fight happen. If he want to fight Andre, he can make that fight happen, right?
Tomorrow.
If he want to fight Beterbiev, any fighter you name, he can make it happen. Why? Because he the A side. He has that leverage, right? Mm-hmm. These fighters that you talking about, they got to get it out the mud. They didn't get no silver spoon. So he could, like Charlo, he could call out Gennady Golovkin all he want. He could be his mandatory for 2 years all he want. He still can't get the fight.
What's Charlo's best win?
J. Rock Williams. But that's not the point. Okay. That's not the point. My point is this. He could fight.
And that wasn't at middleweight.
But I'm just saying, at middleweight, the best don't want to fight him. The Canelo of the world.
Except for Andre.
Canelo requested the French Fries title to avoid that fight. So my thing is this. You saying he has better resume than these fighters? Because he has to. Because his resume is made up. Why when he fight the Charlos of the world, like his critiques are saying fighters, not me, like Morales, the Chavez of the world, legendary fighters. Why when he proved them wrong? My point is this. The reason he has a better resume because he has better options. Charlo, he want to hop in the ring with Canelo, Gennady Golovkin, and Danny Jacob.
That's a cash cow.
And Danny Jacob. Danny Jacob is not a cash cow. Gennady Golovkin is not a cash cow today.
I said Canelo is the cash cow. Of course you want to hop in the ring with him. Well, now, just like when Canelo wanted to fight Floyd, even though it was probably too early, because he was the cash cow.
He's ducking, period. Canelo ducking, Charlo and Andre ain't ducking, but they just can't get the big fights because they that talented and that dominated. It's the Rigondeaux effect. These champions like Cruz and Frampton successfully froze these fighters out. So it's like the murderers brought all over again.
Rigondeaux dominated a Donaire.
After that, he couldn't get no fight.
When Donaire was one of the... So we can state that like that is a great win. You have been... legitimized, and then even to the point where he shouldn't have fought Lomachenko, who was 2 weight divisions up above. But we actually wanted to see that fight because we knew that Rigondeaux was legit.
Just like we want to see Charlo and Andre fight Canelo. But guess what? He don't want what happened to Donaire to happen to him. That's why he have the best resume, like you said, because he avoiding these fights. If he fight these guys, he probably if his next fight is Charlo, Andre, and Benavidez, he probably be 0-3 his next 3 fights. That's what I'm saying. So you can have the best resume when you avoid it and could pick any fight you want. Meanwhile, Charlo got to fight every fighter they tell him to fight, and he still can't land the Canelo or Gennady Golovkin fight.
You know he fighting Dennis Hogan.
He got to stay active because these fighters are freezing him out.
He could have fought Andre.
No, he couldn't. Because the zone is not willing to send Andre to Showtime.
No, he could have came over there and said, you know what? I'm going to do a 3-fight deal with y'all. I'm going to beat Andre.
Hold on.
With
Pause.
With the zone.
Why would he do that?
Because I'm going to beat Andre, I'm going to beat Canelo, and then I'm going to beat Triple G, and then I'm going to be a superstar.
Pause. He already said he's willing. Because he already, that's a strike. That's another strike.
What are you talking about? Because those are facts. Like that's a crazy you got to inform. That's a crazy 3-fight deal.
Okay, are you the zone? Are you gonna make it happen? Because if you do, I promise you, he signed that contract tomorrow to go get them straps. But let me tell you this: Andre just signed with the zone. How come Andre don't get the Canelo fight and Gennady Golovkin next? Then he called out Gennady Golovkin to his face. And Gennady Golovkin finna fight and nobody next.
Now Triple G needs to make that fight.
Let me finish my point.
Triple G needs to make that fight.
If you got more confidence than them, cool. But you ain't finna fight for Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. I'm telling you, you saying Charlo, why he don't do this, right? Well, Andre is with the zone, and he not getting the Andre fight. I mean, he not getting the Gennady Golovkin fight, and he's not getting the Canelo fight. So why will Charlo go to the zone and sign a contract where they're not gonna guarantee him the Canelo fight or the Andre fight or the not the Andre fight, the Canelo fight or the Gennady Golovkin fight.
Yeah.
And to your point, you stated that DAZN, they messed up when they signed Canelo because they can't force him to fight nobody.
Because they did not give themselves leverage to do that. And
But you want Charlo, you want the Lions
up.
only to sign with DAZN when they can't even when they can't even guarantee him a fight with Canelo or Gennady Golovkin. So why would he sign?
Because you could fight an Andre and not a Dennis Hogan.
Why will he sign with DAZN when they can't even guarantee him these fights? That's what I'm saying.
They can guarantee him a Triple G. Well,
no, they ain't, because Gennady Golovkin already he turned down the opportunity to fight Andre for the WBC title when they mandated him. That's what I'm saying. So why would he go and sign with DAZN when they can't even guarantee him the fights? Just like with Wilder.
So you don't give,
hold on, pause. Just like with Deontay Wilder, when he was trying to when he was trying to fight AJ, DAZN gave him a contract for 4-fight deal for $120 million, but they didn't guarantee the AJ fight. Or you know what I'm saying? So like, what's the purpose of him signing with him? And AJ ended up losing.
You be on there. Pause with it, all these pause and play buttons. But
no,
what I'm saying, what I'm saying is that like he will up his profile, and that he will put himself in a better position to get those fights right now. He does not have a quality win at middleweight.
His best chance is to stay active, be his own boss, and whenever opportunity presents itself, take it. His best bet is to follow the game plan that's working. The PBC is trying to establish this dominance because he still could get the Deveryachenko fight. He's still the Heyman.
That's not what he wants, man.
But at the end of the day, it's still a good fight. I'm saying it's not his fault that these fighters are avoiding him. You keep trying to make excuses for Canelo and Gennady Golovkin. That's too dusty. Like I said, these fighters ain't trying to fight.
I didn't say nothing about Triple G.
No, but I'm saying you said that, okay, Canelo Alvarez, he has a better resume. Of course he do, because he can make any fight he want. If Charlo is in the same shoe as Canelo, he will have a better resume because he will hop in the ring with everybody. I could see his demeanor. He want to be the best, just like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. But because they cut from the same cloth as these guys, Canelo Alvarez has to get a witness protection belt from the WBC, becoming the French Fries title, requesting it. He got stripped for the IBF title because he didn't want to fight his mandatories. How did he become the French Fries champion when he didn't even defend his belt?
He went and made history, and he made a lot of money.
You said, according to you, I already debunked a lot of the points you keep bringing up.
No, you never debunked that.
So I didn't debunk that he not making history. He making up history fighting a washed Kovalev. According to you, you said Kovalev was so washed up.
He was washed.
Yes, you did. You could go back to episode 7.
I said he was long in the tooth. And that he
had a foot out the door.
1 foot out the door.
What's that mean?
Whatnot.
What's that?
Like washed is fighting somebody who like Baltimore or something like that. That's a washed fighter.
That's not even a fight. That's
what did Kovalev had knocked out his opponent, a young, strong buck.
According to you, that only had 18 amateurs.
He was green, but he still knocked him out.
With 18 professional fights that haven't stepped up. And talking about who Charlo fought, Andre fought, who Yard fought, who have Yard fought at the time before. Exactly. And he only have 12 amateurs fights. Come on now. And he almost knocked out Kovalev. Listen.
When people open up the annals of boxing history, they're going to say there's only been 2 fighters who went
That's French Fries champion. Lomachenko and Canelo.
Who went from middleweight and won a light heavyweight championship. It was Bernard Hopkins and Canelo Alvarez.
And
that's
Roy
history.
Jones. What do you mean? But I respect what Bernard Hopkins did. He beat a legit champion. Kovalev was on his way out the door. He ain't interested in fighting Beterbiev or Benavidez that called him out. He not interested in them, and he interested to fighting Saunders as soon as he on the way out the door. That's what I'm saying. Your points that you bring up already debunked from the last show, because according to you, Kovalev was washed up, and everybody know he washed up. He ain't fight the Kovalev version for Andre Ward. Kovalev already been knocked out twice, already been exposed to the body, and he's already on the way out the door, got one foot out the door. Canelo kicked his other foot out the door. Like I said, fight a prime fighter. And you talking about he got better resumes than these other fighters.
I mean, that's just facts. That's just facts.
Because he's in a better shoe. Errol Spence, for example, he didn't fight on nobody undercard like Floyd Mayweather to become a star in the game. And he had to get it out the mud. He was being avoided like Floyd, and now he's like the face of sport.
He came from the Olympics.
Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, all these guys didn't want to see him on the way up. And now
he had a lot of co-signers.
Listen, when tables turn, now they want to fight him. Back in the day, they didn't want to fight him. Let's keep it real.
You're right.
So all I'm saying is, Errol Spence had to get out the mud. Andrade had to get out the mud. They avoided. They trying to just stay busy because to make noise because these fighters on the hope list trying to freeze them out. So these fighters on the coincidental list, every time they mandatories, they don't get to fight these fighters on the hope list. They getting French fries title and avoid to maneuver. Like I said, if these fighters are in the same shoe as these fighters on the hope list, if the fighters on the coincidental list are in the same shoe as these fighters on the hope list, they will surpass them. They will be so far out in their career right now.
Well, I mean,
but because
part of it, they have to prove it in the ring. So you saying that you don't think Andrade has been mismanaged?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, but because these fighters won't fight him, he's a risk. And the Canelos of the world, they don't want to fight him. The Gennady Golovkins of the world, perfect example. They don't want to fight him, and they fight on the same network. Charlo don't fight on the same network. Canelo, Andre, Gennady Golovkin, all these guys fight on the same network. You know what I mean? That's why they know better. If you know better, do better.
Okay.
And if they want to be, that's all I'm saying.
You mad passionate about you. If you see Canelo in person, I think you might try to fight him.
Man, I ain't Marquez. I ain't gonna tell him you the greatest Hispanic fighter of all time. I'm gonna keep it real.
I would never say that.
I'm gonna ask him the $1 million question.
What's that?
When you gonna fight Charlo and Andre?
I want to see that.
We want to see you in the ring against
fights.
prime fighters. That's all. He opened himself for criticism. I'm not critiquing him. I'm not the only one. New media critiquing him. Dante, DBN, Ego, the most reliable boxing outlet in the YouTube industry. You're talking about fighters from great legends, from the Morales, Barreras to Marquez to Chavez Jr. These fighters are critiquing him because why? He opened himself for criticism because he only have 3 fighters that he fought on his in their prime for the past 15
It's a lot of narratives out
15
there.
years.
I just played Marquez saying that maybe there was something that was lost in translation.
Man, me no speak no English. That's what I think it is. Now, the last topic of the day, we got Chavez versus Jacob. So Eddie Hearn came out stating that there's no confusion going on, that it's just because he haven't signed for VADA. It's because he haven't signed to VADA. That's why he didn't want to get tested, but that's not true. Chavez got busted for
He already got busted before.
And because he's about to fight Jacob, and they about to make that fight official, and you know what I'm saying, they signed for that fight, VADA went to test him randomly to see if he's clean. You know what I mean? He like, hell no. He be in some Mexican meat. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the WBC increased the limit for that too, for Canelo Alvarez and Chavez Jr. to get away with it. Yeah, to get away with it. You know what I mean? He moved it to a different state, but it's under the same commission. So he getting sued for the Ali Act because he not caring about the health of his own fighter. Keep in mind, he don't even sign Chavez Jr. He only want Jacob to fight Chavez Jr. because that's a big name. You know what I mean?
That's some beat.
But because,
Eddie
like,
Hearn.
how you going to do that? Like, I understand if Jacob is the one doing the dirt at least. But nah, Jacob, keep in mind, is a fighter that beat cancer. You're going to throw him under the bus fighting a dirty fighter? I don't care how big that fight is. I don't care how desperate the zone is. I don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, you got to keep your integrity in the sport. And you got to care about the health of your fighters.
Absolutely.
Because so many fighters died in the ring. Patrick Day, all these fighters that die in the sport, and you're going to have Jacob hop in the ring with a possible fighter that's doing dirt. like not Daniel, but like Dillian White did, where he got tested for positive for PEDs and had a secret meeting in the UK. But Eddie Hearn didn't realize he can get away with that in the US, and the Ali Act played in effect, and he could get his boxing license suspended for matchroom boxing in the US. So that's gonna definitely hurt his brand. And when his Big Baby Miller, he went all out. He claimed that he should be banned from the sport, that PEDs shouldn't be allowed in the sport, even though Big Baby Miller said, oh, he get AJ, he get steroid exemption in the UK. Dillian White said the same thing. And Dillian White got busted for PEDs and still got approved. He still got approved to fight in the UK. So there's a lot of fishy going on. I don't know what's happening, but Eddie Hearn got to clear things up, because a lot of people don't like what's happening with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom.
So I don't know if you know. So once Chavez refused to do this testing, and instead of mandating or making sure that, you got to realize that Jacob is Eddie Hearn's fighter. He's a matchroom fighter. So instead of doing right by his fighter, he goes and moves it to another venue. To another state.
And keep in mind, he fighting a day before, I believe, the rematch between Tony Harrison and Charlo. So you got to compete with that the next day for PBC. The zone ain't looking too good. They just hosted the KSI versus Logan Paul. And like, it's like, come on now. I'm disappointed, but that was actually a big hit.
That was for them. I don't know if you've seen it.
I know it's a big hit, but I'm saying for the hardcore boxing fans, y'all gonna give us...
it actually makes a mockery of the sport, to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Eddie Hearn is not giving... I like Eddie Hearn hustle. What he doing is he hurting the sport when he trying to get a fighter that's possibly dirty in the ring with a fighter that's clean, especially a fighter that beat cancer.
Eddie doesn't care about his fighters. I'm seeing that now.
And
unless it's AJ, because he goes all crazy or whatnot. He got his little black, Ken doll. But he's somebody who promoted this KSI, Logan Paul BS.
He downgraded at first. He was talking ish about it at first. But
then he's also on the network. Yeah, and then he's also... Cool. I'm not even going to talk about the issues about staging a fight in like Saudi Arabia. We're not going to get into political stuff now.
It's all cool with that.
But he also he inherited his business from his father. This is not somebody who grinded and did that. He got this from his pops, man.
He didn't get out the mud. That's what
he did not get it out the mud.
Oh man,
no way.
Hey, so
and if you go to the UK, they'd be like, "Yo, I respect your father. F you."
Look,
in a sense.
Listen, I respect his hustle. You feel me? I respect his hustle, but I don't respect what he's doing. As far as you gotta keep it real at the end of the day. You gotta be professional and you gotta be caring about your own fighters. At the end of the day, it's a dangerous sport. We're not playing tennis, we're not playing basketball, football. You hitting fighters with your hands. And if that enhancement give you you obviously it's called enhancement because it enhances your ability to fight. And you fighting another clean fighter where you hitting him in the face, a fighter that beat cancer.
In the face,
really?
In the body. Listen, you do not play boxing. Nobody says I'm going to. You do not play boxing. Yes, and then that's all that needs to be said.
So Eddie Hearn, you got to click. They about to get him suspended. And if he know better, he going to do better. Now, thank y'all for tuning in to Split Decision, episode 9. Obviously
2 months in, baby.
2 months in, but these casual fans, old media hating because obviously they're not bringing up any points to counter what we saying. They ain't coming to the Aki University to debate. They just coming to talk shit because they can't graduate. So read the book of the truth that's offered in the Aki University. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can hate on this drip all y'all want.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like it's plenty of drip over here and everything, but come with something that's substantive. Because we actually like that. There were actually some people who brought up some good points, and I acknowledge them.
Salute to all y'all.
And then a lot of I'll come up next time with the fighter's name, but he was talking about the history of Charlo and Canelo, And I respect that. Like those are the
That
arguments
proved my point
that I
then.
respect.
Huh?
No, it did. I mean, I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge
all day.
that. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This thing called ad hominems, whatnot.
Listen,
y'all
listen.
can keep them to yourself.
I just
Come with
say
something substantive. But, but tune in every
y'all,
week.
Y'all
to-
know what time it is. For all the people that's hating on my drip, let it be known. You know, when I see y'all on the road, I didn't pass y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? To no Aki. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's Aki stand for my brother. You know, it's a boxing brotherhood. So when I whoop you, it's because I love you. We can shake our hands afterwards. You know what I mean? So we want all the smoke. Argument-wise, debating-wise, and guess what? Y'all gonna get taken to the Aki University, and hopefully y'all will graduate soon enough. So it's free to attend the Aki University. For all the casual fan students, we welcome every student. We believe in every student. I believe y'all could graduate sooner than later. All y'all gotta do is subscribe below to become a part of the Split Decision, and the Aki University is free to attend, free 99. All you got to do is subscribe. If you're trying to get smarter by the minute, if you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these casual fans. Click on the notification bell to get notified every time we post or go live, because y'all don't want to miss our content, period, especially from No Split Decision.
Yo, and in 2020, we going live.
Oh, we going live.
We already know what it is.
Y'all know what time it is.
2020, we going live.
2020, we going live. You know what I'm saying? Don't that sound perfect? 2020, you know what I'm saying? I keep it a buck, though. I don't keep it 20. You know what I mean? if we talking about debating stuff, they talking about is a unanimous decision every time, Professor Nen. How you feel about that?
I don't see that.
They ain't even saying a split decision no more. They saying these unanimous decisions.
I be saying the
every
ladies.
day.
I be saying the ladies. They be like, I appreciate the professor, and like y'all keep tuning in. I appreciate the love.
Hey, you know what I mean? You know, Professor. You know,
it's all good though. I ain't gonna front.
Now,
Drip is saucy today.
Hey, my man, Professor Nen, he cleaner than a napkin. That's how clean he is. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, don't get us dusty with y'all dusty asses excuses why y'all fighters keep ducking, man. I ain't trying to hear that. Come out with a new excuse where I don't have to wipe out the dust before I talk about it. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. I appreciate all my Akis and all the people that support me. And to Professor Nen at the end of the day. Bop, 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 bop.
And the I go and say, I don't got time for the hate. I need more time in my day. I put the ice on my bay, yeah. You riding on me, I get my drip overseas. Niggas are haters.